Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Friday, December 2nd, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. The Union of and the Association of Judges both appealed to the Constitutional Court today with claims the approved law which determines the status of judges violates the independence of the judiciary and the standards already determined by the Venice Commission. The chairman of the two institutions submitted a joint appeal to the court today, explaining the points where they claim the law violates the Constitution. The chairman of the Association of Judges had this to say: "The law violates several constitutional principles, such as the principle of the rule of law, the principle of judiciary independence, the principle for presumption of innocence, and the principle of equality before the law. It also denies the rights of the status of judges predicted by Article 138 of the Constitution. It violates the principles of a regular legal process." Meanwhile, the chairman of the Union of Judges declared a person accused of a criminal offense has the right to have a regular legal process, but the judges and prosecutors do not have such an opportunity. The first point of their request was to suspend the law until the Constitutional Court makes a decision regarding the law which was adopted in Parliament in October with only the votes of the majority. Representatives from 18 business associations held a meeting today with representatives of the Democratic Party to discuss the president's decree over the Chambers of Commerce law, which obligates businesses to become members of a Chamber of Commerce. The vice chairman of the Democratic Party declared that the law is a hidden tax for businesses. Mandatory membership is a cost for businesses. We will vote in favor of the president's decree for the Chambers of Commerce law. Foreign businesses are leaving Albania. The political class would be poor without the businesses. Taxes have increased every year for businesses, declared the Democratic Party's vice chairman. Meanwhile, business representatives warned of appealing the law with the Constitutional Court. The chairman of the American Chamber of Commerce is also against the law, declaring that they refuse to pay hidden taxes. The American Chamber of Commerce is in favor of the president's stance against the law. The director of the Banks Association is also against the law, considering it to be based on an old and failing model, stating that Albania cannot go back to old models that have already failed. Business representatives declared that if the president's decree is rejected in Parliament and the law is left in power, they will appeal it with the Constitutional Court and to the European Court of Human Rights. The 2017 state budget was approved in principle in a marathon 16-hour plenary session. The voting took place in the early hours of Friday, with the draft being voted on by only majority members because the opposition left. The draft received 82 votes in favor and 2 against. The opposition refused to participate in the voting, calling the budget a failure. According to the opposition, the budget will further impoverish the Albanian people. After just over 16 hours of discussions and debates, the opposition accused the government of failing to invest and of increasing taxes by $1.5 million. The majority sees the budget as correct to establish reforms and increase salaries. The Socialist Movement for Integration recently presented an amendment for the duty tax on vehicle gas, and the decision is expected for the coming plenary session. 2017 budget, estimated to be 467 billion lek, has been intensely discussed in several parliamentary committees over several weeks. This month, the draft will be discussed in the Parliamentary Commission again before it goes to the plenary session to be ratified article by article. President of the Republic, Bujar Nishani, attended the Conference of Communism Crimes in Albania, which was organized by the European Parliament's Belgian Minister of State. From Brussels, the president declared that establishing the authority to open the communism files is delayed. After a long and unjustified delay, the authority for opening the communism files has been established in Albania, and we hope to fulfill the expectancies of the formerly persecuted, and victims of the regime, said the president. Speaking of the political class's obligation to document the communism crimes, the president expressed regret about bringing back the painful past, referring to the Bunkart Museum. Unfortunately, there are some tendencies and efforts in Albania to bring back the painful past, trying to justify it. This is harmful for our society, history, and especially for the new generation who did not live in that time but are seeing the glorification of communist regime figures, the transformation of heinous communism objects into so-called artworks and tourist places, or by false illustrations of events and historic facts, declared President Nishani, who praised the diaspora's sacrifices in denouncing terrible communism crimes. The Democratic Party chairman was in Gjirokaster today, where he held meetings with DP structures and citizens. The DP chairman spoke of the party's change, which Mr. Basha says will be transformed into a modern and European formation. The Democratic Party is united, and it is being enlarged every day. The changing of Albania starts with us. We will conclude the process of turning the Democratic Party into a more modern and European party, said Basha. During his meeting with citizens, the Democratic Party chairman promised that he will have the citizens in his focus when he comes into power, especially the needy. My goal is that everyone has food in his house with water and electricity. We will do everything so that the budget is used for what the citizens need the most. The state will pay the first 200 kilowatt hours for needy families. This will be one of the measures I will take when I come into power, promised the DP chairman. He asked from Gjirokaster's party chairman to stay close to the citizens. Mr. Basha emphasized that the government has abandoned the citizens and that it is promoting evil. Diplomats, politicians, representatives from the Vatican and from the Catholic Church gathered to celebrate the 25th anniversary of diplomatic relations being established between Albania and the Vatican. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Social Welfare both emphasized Albania's religious harmony as a unique symbol. We are lucky to have religious harmony, which is a unique symbol of Albania, said the Minister of Social Welfare. Religious harmony is the basis of humanism, which should lead international relations. Albania is a unique symbol of religious harmony. We are grateful to Pope Francis for the beatification of 38 Albanian martyrs, declared the Minister of Foreign Affairs. The Vatican's chargé d'affaires highlighted that the relationship between Albania and the Vatican is now consolidated. The Holy See and Albania have consolidated their long-time relations. We emphasize the role and commitment of the Catholic Church in contribution to Albania's development, the Vatican's representative said. Albania is represented in the Vatican by its chargé d'affaires Visar Gjiti. Recently, Pope Francis canonized Mother Teresa, beatified 38 Albanian martyrs, and declared Ernest Shoshani a cardinal. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.